even the different employers usually don't uh, focus on it, but it's a very important topic and very sensitive because it helps to break stigma, it helps to build connections, it also helps us to empower. It empowers us and also be able to and also enables us to be in position to help ourselves and also to help the people around us, maybe within our families and in our places. So today, the webinar has been organized by SHAO. This is the Safety and Health Association of Uganda. We are partnering with our members of TOHASA and WASPAC, TOHASA Tanzania and WASPAC Kenya. Our SHAO is an umbrella body that is in Uganda that brings the health and safety professions in Uganda together. So we have different platforms cutting across LinkedIn, Twitter. So you can always go onto the website or go onto the different platforms and look up for SHAO and follow if you're not following us. And then people who are not members of the association and you are practicing health and safety in Uganda, please, you can always join in. The president is going to be talking about how you can join in and become a SHAO member. And also, please follow the different platforms if you're not following us, even the members, and also any other person that is on the platform. SHAO is partnering with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Vision Zero and OSH Africa for an upcoming conference in August, which is Vision Zero. This is a conference that is going to be a top conference in Africa. So I will encourage everyone to join in. It will be for 3 days from the 27th to the 29th at Peak Resort, Munyonyo. And yes, you're almost welcome. So today's session, as I've told you, it's going to be on workplace mental health and well-being and interference with health and retirement. And we are going to be having a guest speaker, who is Dr. Ehi. Dr. Ehi is, we are so happy to join us today. He's the president of OSH Africa. He was here with us last year. If there was any of us that were there for the SHAO conference, the first ever conference of SHAO organized by SHAO last year, Dr. Ehi was here. We opened up, we were able to pioneer and launch Vision Zero last year in Uganda. So with the upcoming conference that is there in August, Mr. Ehi is an experienced OSH consultant with 20 years in the field. He holds a master's in workplace health and safety, and also Dr. Ehi is currently doing his doctorate, following up and conducting a research on workplace health and wellness promotion and its impact on work health and well-being. So I'm sure he's well versed in this field, and he'll be taking us through today's session. Please feel free to engage through the session. The WhatsApp group for SHAO is there. We shall be posting some of the questions even in the chat. Please post any questions that you'll be having there. Anything that you're expecting through the session. We have a few topics that we shall govern us, or we shall be running through this whole session. It's a session of 2 hours. These are employees' well-being, employees' mental health, fatigue, employees' assistance program, mid-level managers' mental health training. We shall have a conversation on retirement and also how to plan for a healthy retirement. So be ready to engage throughout the session. Please, let's not be quiet. Let's engage Mr. Dr. Ehi. Any questions, please post them. We shall be answering them. But before we go into today's session, we are going to have a few opening remarks from our president, Mr. Sandy. You're most welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening. I hope I'm audible enough. MC, can you confirm that you're able to hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you so much, moderator, for setting up the context to this very important session we are about to. My name is Sunday Achidri. I am the current president of the Health and Safety Association of Uganda. Indeed, this evening it's a privilege for me to welcome all of you to this important mental health awareness session organized by the Health and Safety Association of Uganda, and that will be delivered with the esteemed support of the President of OS Africa, Dr. Ehi. Allow me to extend our deepest appreciation to the President of OS Africa, Dr. Ehi, for your unwavering commitment to advancing occupational safety and health across the continent. Your presence here online underscores the significance of the topic and reinforces our shared dedication to workers' well-being. Mental health, as the moderator said, remains one of the most pressing yet under-discussed components of workplace safety. Across industries, employees are facing increasing levels of stress, anxiety, and psychological strain. As leaders and stakeholders in occupational safety and health, we have a responsibility to break the silence, confront the stigma, and promote environment where mental well-being is recognized, supported, and protected. So today's webinar provides us with an invaluable platform to share the knowledge, experience, and the practical approaches to mental health in the workplace. Together, we can foster a culture of openness and care that organizational boundaries are national boundaries. Let this be more than a conversation. Let it be a call to action, a call for policies that protect, a call for leadership that listens, and a call for systems that support every worker's mental health as an integral part of occupational health. Thank you once again to Dr. Ehi, the President of OS Africa, for your leadership, and to all our partners and participants for joining us in this critical dialogue. Let us engage, let us learn, and inspire to change. Thank you. I wish you a productive session. Back to you.
Hey, thank you so much, Mr. President. So we shall dive into our session for today. Mr. Hehi, you are most welcome. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. In your own time, nice evening, but my own time is still afternoon. And I want to use the opportunity to congratulate Shao for pulling forth a very successful elections. And you didn't do it like African leaders would do, where election always results in violence. But this was a very smooth transition and an emergence of a new president. And to the current president of Shao, I congratulate you and I welcome you to the office and I wish you a successful tenure. And again, thanks to every member of the ESCO and members of Shao as you support the new administration to achieve milestone within the time they have at their disposal. And again, thank you so much for inviting me. And we're looking at the issue of workplace mental health and the well-being and the impact on healthy retirement. Let's look at the next slide, please. I want to start by saying that this is an issue that we mostly do not discuss. It looks like an issue that is under wrap. People don't want to talk about it. But the truth is that mental health, whether you talk about it or not, mental health has come to stay. Every day we live with mental health and in varied degree. Work life will never be seen as successful without a healthy retirement life. It is important that we understand that just click on this slide. It's important that we understand that work life, we must all live to work. So long as we live on earth, we'll live to work. But at the end of the day, life does not end in just a workplace. We understand the fact that there must also be retirement, because when you live, you work, and you retire, that's not the end of your life. Everything we do in our workplaces daily, we must understand that they must have healthy retirement as our goal. This is something I started looking at many years ago when well-being became a new entrant into occupational health and safety. And I was trying to see how there could be a strong correlation between workplace well-being, health and well-being, and the overall long-term impact on retirement, which of course we can't talk about well-being, talk about mental health without looking at what the work we have done, the impact it has on us, even after we retire. And that's benchmarked with the fact that most of the things we do in our workplaces today, they don't have instantaneous effect on us. Most of the occupational diseases and illnesses, even mental health illnesses or mental health burden, they don't have a current immediate impact on us. Most of these things start surfacing about 10 years and even more after we leave our job. So it's important that we keep that in mind, see how we can manage it right now so that we see what comes after us after we retire from job. They become limited and they don't become too severe. Life does not end in retirement. There's life after retirement. And health is currency. Every day we live, we spend it. I need to keep that in mind. Every day we live, we spend this currency called health. And how you spend yours determine how your retirement life is going to be. Work years is a period of deposits, and retirement is your withdrawal season. So when you live with this in mind, that every day you live in the workplace, the kind of work you do, the day you use up yourself, the way you spend up your currency, you are actually making deposits, and where there is deposit, it is just natural that withdrawal will follow. So the evening of your life, the retirement period of your life, is the moment of withdrawal. It's a season of withdrawal where all you've done with your health, with your life, they begin to show. I mean, the impact begin to show, and whatever it is at that point, that is what you have as your scorecard. Next slide, please. But the truth is that we need to actually set the stage, and the stage must be set by management or leadership. They must set the stage to ensure that workplace mental health become an issue that is grossly discussed. In most workplaces that I know today, mental health is kept under wrap. It's like voodoo. Nobody wants to touch it. Yet it is very prevalent in the workplace, in these results. But we must see how we can open this wrap up and see how we can discuss it, like we discuss every form of illnesses or every form of risk that we have in the workplace. The more we discuss it, the more people get knowledgeable about mental health, and the more we're able to navigate our way through managing mental health and strengthening the capacity we have or we need and we have to cope. What does mental health really mean to me? To different people, mental health means different things. Most time we believe when people throw off their clothes and run into the market, that's when mental health, we start thinking about mental health. No, we should think about mental health long before all those physical outcomes we start seeing them. We should think about mental health as a daily plan. Every day we live, every day we come to work, let's understand the fact that mental health is a strong component of every day that we live, and everything we need to protect it, we must put every one of them in place. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Slide 4. This is slide 4 showing.
Okay. It is always said, and which of course has been put together by WHO, there is no health without mental health. If you think you have health, if it's not underpinned on mental health, you have no health. Because when you lose mental health, everything is lost. I just feel I should say this here. When you lose mental health, everything is lost. Next slide. Everything you do today, you're able to do them because your mental health allowed you. You came for this meeting, your mental health allowed you. You woke up this morning, able to do something reasonable, your mental health allowed you. Understand the fact that everything we do on a daily basis, they are underpinned under mental health because mental health allowed us. Let's look at how WHO has clearly put mental health succinctly. It has seen it as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her abilities, can cope with the normal stress of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So until all these are realized, we don't have mental health. Because mental health is clearly talks about we must be in a state of impactful well-being where we can realize our own abilities and able to cope with normal stresses. Every day we live with stress. Stresses come, but our ability to cope with stress that come, and able to manage them, that's what WHO definition is also talking about as well. So mental health in the level is the level of state of psychological well-being or an absence of mental health. So a lot happen around this scope. It doesn't matter what age, what health says, what race, what economic or socioeconomic class you belong to. Mental health is not discriminatory. Mental health affects everyone. It affects the poor. It affects the rich. It affects the celebrity. It affects the man that goes to farm. So there is no discrimination. So everyone is bound to go through mental health issue, but in varied degrees. But the way you'll be trained on how to manage it, the way you'll be trained on how to receive it or how to withstand this with resilience, that's what determines what the outcomes becomes on the long run. Next slide, please. Next slide. So still click on it. So we must understand the fact that mental health is from childhood to adolescence to adulthood. We used to see mental health as adult illnesses, yes, but not anymore. It affects everyone. It affects your emotions, it affects your psychology, your well-being, and it affects everybody at any stage, any part in your lifetime. So it is not just what we can credit now to say, oh, it only affects those who are adults. Children also suffer mental health, and most times we are not careful enough to look at children to see what they go through. Just like what we have in Africa, where it looks like, oh, children must be penalized after every little thing they may have got wrong. A child must act his or her age, but most times the way we react to those behavior in Africa most is something that we need to look back to and ask ourselves if it's really the right thing. For me, as a clear example, I tell people the strokes I receive in my while growing up is enough to last me for a lifetime. But the truth is that most of those strokes could have been avoided. They were avoidable. There were no need for most of those strokes. Our parents just felt it's a way of correcting us. But most of those things actually created exacerbated mental health issue in children. But most times we see people manifest some behavior. We don't know why those behavior are manifested. Most of us, those things that we suffered and nobody took attention or it grew in us. Now we are adults. We are beginning to wonder, why are we displaying some certain kind of behavior? There may have been things that we were picked while we were children, but nobody saw it. But now they've grown with us and they become part of overall behavior. And the truth is that if we really look at it, ask ourselves, sometimes we stay back and have quiet moments. We ask ourselves, did you really do this thing? There are things we hate about ourselves, about our behavior. Those are some of the issues that were overlooked while we're growing up, and we just ignored it. But here they are with us. Next slide, please. So it's important that we know that it's not just about an adult thing. It's about mental health exists in children, through adolescent, and to adulthood. We'll come back to that slide. We must understand, studies have said that employees spend the highest number of their work hour in their workplaces. And this being the case, they need to balance this out. No matter how much we preach about mental health at work, and mental health is not part of the family unit or the family ecosystem, there's nothing significant that we can achieve. Right now, we start talking about mental health at workplaces, but I also believe while we talk about mental health at workplaces, we also need to strengthen mental health within family units. What we do here in most of the organizations I work for, I consult for, I have introduced a concept called employees and employees family approach to mental health. What you do is that when you train employee, advocate, or create awareness or education in mental health at workplaces, it also ensure that the employees, ensure they go back home and also able to speak to their family members. If the family members and the principal employee that you have in your workplace, if they know the same thing, mental health is easier to manage. How do you relate to? We talk about mental health in the workplace. There's an employee of ours who is at home suffering domestic abuse, suffering mental health violence in the workplace. We need to see how we can balance that out. No matter what we do for that employee in the workplace, when he gets home, everything about his mental health gets ruined based on what he or she suffered at home. So I always say, when we employ an employee, by extension, we employ the employee's family. So using an employee's family approach is always a decent way to look at mental health, so that we can all see how we can balance what happens within the home front, and also look at what happens to the employees even within the office area. Next slide, please. So we look at what the statistics are saying. WHO in 2021 report shows that 1 in 4 persons will be affected by mental health disorder at some point in their lives. When you juxtapose what happening in the workplace, not 1 in 4 among global employees, 1 in 6 among global employees will experience mental health condition at some point. And 3 critical areas where this condition will come are anxiety, depression, or stress. Stress has been characterized with our work, our new form of work. Stress is a big confounder. When we talk about workplace right now, we work with stress on a daily basis. But the truth is that stress on its own is not a problem. When stress comes and it lasts for a short term, that's very allowed, because stress also helps you to achieve great results. When assuming you in your house right now, you have gunshots from nowhere, and they may be assassins or they may be robbers, you won't understand what happened, how you're able to skate through the fence or broke the ceiling just to have a hiding place. But naturally, those are things you wouldn't have been able to do on your own. But at that moment, there's a burst of adrenaline, which of course were elicited by stress, that gave you that opportunity, that boost to take those actions. That's how stress on a short term prepare you to do things you couldn't have ever thought that you could do. But when stress lasts longer than necessary, that's where we now begin to have problems. Stress lasting longer or staying longer than necessary, it begins to have a toll on the individual. Those problems can be impact of individual performance, productivity, mental health support from employers are crucial for helping employees. Most times, workplaces are changing greatly every day. We need to see how employers can build support for employees. Next slide, please. Can build support for employees in ensuring that decent workplace is achieved. A lot is needed at this time, and we need how employers can come on board. Visible leadership is needed at this time, and employers' commitment is also a very critical issue that I'll be looking out for. What are the drivers of mental health in the workplace? 1, work overload. Everybody is being overworked, including me that's sitting here. Everybody is going through what you call work overload these days, and that is the new workplace we find ourselves in. And this has been fueled or characterized by growth in technologies, because the workplace has been duly invaded with several things that we find in the workplace these days. So work overload is a problem. You have issue of long working hours. Hours of work has greatly changed. When COVID came, you realize that the study said that there was only a bloodline between individual time and the time that the person spent working for the organization. When you work remotely, you even work more hours, which of course I never paid for. And when I joined the healthcare sector many years ago, we used to have 3 shifts, but now the healthcare sector has shrunk from having 3 shifts to 2 shifts. And again, when you have such long hours, it impacts negatively on the mental health of employees. And again, it leads to accidents. That's why you're having what you call medical errors. A lot of accidents in the workplace lead to accidents that lead to patient death and patient harm and all have you. Lack of job autonomy. Most time we don't have job autonomy. We have responsibilities. We don't have authority. Most time we are giving job tasks to achieve. We are giving law roles, to perform. But within that role, we don't have authority to make decisions. So lack of job autonomy is also a very big co-founder of workplace mental health. So as you go about that job, you are disturbed, you struggle to actually ensure to see how you can make ends meet, because at the end of the day, you are able to do a lot. But when it comes to making the decision to move to the next phase, you can't. The person you are trying to reach to make decision is not available to be reached, or doesn't even understand the urgency of that decision. So it's also a big problem. Poor supervision. I'll dwell on this greatly. WHO have said that supervisors are the set of, and mid-level managers are the set of people that ruin employees' mental health. Why? Because most times supervisors, they are employed and they are employed on the technical ground. They grow from the rank into a management position. But the truth is that when they grow to management position, they never receive a training or whatsoever on how to manage employees. Remember, these guys are technical guys. So now people are seeded to them to manage. Yet, and these people, they all live with a whole of mental health issue, because the person they are working with does not understand what it means to manage an employee's emotions. So what we recommend here is that any position you move anyone to in the workplace, it should be followed by a requisite training that makes that person to function properly in that position, and also to take cognizance of the mental health and well-being of the people he's going to manage within that position is very crucial. Poor communication also. Most time we don't communicate, and when there's communication breakdown, we assume, and those assumptions also will lead to a wrong decision. And most times those also impact on our mental health in workplaces. Toxic workplace also abound where everybody is fighting, everybody is trying to get recognized, everybody's trying to behaviors are coming forth in diverse ways, and behaviors in diverse. The truth is that we do not come from the same place. There are bound to be diverse behavior, but ability for us to be able to manage people, understand that these are personality differences, able to manage them properly. That comes to the whole of emotional intelligence. So it's leading to so much toxicity within the workplace and the work environment. Lack of social support, like I mentioned earlier, most organizations are not supporting employees, and you find out that you do your job without support, you can't really excel properly, and it put a toll on your mental health on the long run. Workplace violence, bullying, and harassment are quite critical in the workplace right now. I mean, we'll deal with this. I mean, as we go forth, bullying in any way is not in anyone's interest. Somebody that came to work only came to work to trade his expertise for what you pay to him at the end of the month. Bullying, harassment, and violence is not part of employment contract, and that should be noted. Nobody should be bullied. Nobody should be bullied, and nobody should bully anyone within the workplace. This exasperates the issue of workplace mental health among employees. Next slide, please. And organizational culture, I mean, should be clearly put in place that ensure that this doesn't happen within the workplace. You also see two key global enablers. We are seeing globalization and dramatic change in the world of work. The world of work have changed greatly, and these have been fueled by technological advancement, innovation, and digitalization. Now, everywhere you get to right now, you are hearing digitalization, the emergence of AI, the emergence of robots in the workplace. These are the fuelers. Is it going to get better? No. Our generation of our fathers was better than ours when it comes to mental health management. But our generation generation of our children, or the next generation, is going to be worse than what we have right now, because technology actually is developing in a very fast pace, and those technologies are going to put toll on the workplace and going to affect adversely the health and well-being of future employees. New forms of work and organizational structure. Talk about outsourcing is going to be a big issue right now, where you work, you don't even know who you work for. One individual can work for about 3 different form of organizations. He has never met the employer. They only have a social contract, and that they're working for different locations. So you find that because of this, demand becomes higher, because you are servicing about 3, 4, 5 different clients from different geographical locations. At times you want to sleep, the other client time is a time to be awake. You just have to be awake to service that. So it's a whole of issues that we have right now that actually influencing the burden of mental health. Then we also talk about high job demand. We talk about aging and demographic changes in the workplace. The older people are leaving the workplace right now, and the younger ones are coming in. And again, you can see some countries right now are shifting the retirement age of their citizens. Why? Because the people are due to leave based on the regulatory requirement, a retirement age. But there are not enough people to fit into those positions, and this happens more in Europe and other developed countries. So they have aging demography, and again, these aged people, they stay more, and the impact of the pressure in the workplace as a result of technology, which of course they're not used to, is really to impact on them. Then you see people like deskless workers, people started at work without using computers. Now they're now the age you are in, and they're now being forced to undergo training on how to use computers and all have other smartphones. So they struggle, and these are also some issues that are putting mental health burden upon workers. Then poor work-life balance, of course, I mentioned earlier. Then the lone worker syndrome has become a very big issue, because now remote working has given room for lone worker syndrome. People feel integrated when they come to the workplace. There's that collective integration that we draw from, where we're all together. We can hug ourselves. The truth is that you don't know how much of good that hug does to each and every one of us. But now we are at home. We wake up in the morning. We only look through the windows to see the sun. We start our work, and that's where the work is going to end. So this is creating what you call loneliness. People are not able to come out to discuss with people, to integrate with people. They get lonely all through, and that was very visible during COVID-19. And lone worker syndrome is spiraling greatly because of remote working. And this is fast increasing the burden of mental health also. You have what we call global economic crisis and recession. I mean, most countries are facing recession, which of course leading to what you call unemployment, job insecurity, and precarious employment. It's leading to job insecurity because somebody that comes to work today saw how the person he reports to was terminated, and the person had to leave. Now the person who witnessed that is wondering. I mean, you see, if 3 people got terminated today, now you are afraid. You live in fear and so high level of anxiety. You don't know whether if tomorrow is your turn. So that fear of job insecurity, what could happen? I mean, it's a big issue also, and that's also foiling mental health because of global economic crisis and recession. Next slide, please. So you also have people getting involved in precarious employment where there is really no formal contract that supports your mental health. Some global facts to keep in mind is that according to Cathy Woodland report, 35% of all workplace illnesses in 2014 to 2015 were due to stress. Like I said, now stress is predominantly visible within the workplace. We can't rule this out at all. Stress was responsible for all working days loss in 2014 to 2015. The main reason why people were off work was due to work pressure, including tight deadlines, too much responsibility, and lack of managerial support. Every workplace right now has what we call tight deadlines. And again, we are also raising managers who don't know how to plan. I consulted for a steady company some time ago, and it made me to totally detest working for that organization. Why do I say so? They know what they want to do. They know when they want to do it. They know there should be time enough to plan for these things. They don't plan for it until we are almost the time to do this is almost here. Everybody start running head scatter. So what you have is that you have what you call pressured corporate culture. Pressured corporate culture. It has become a culture that is not written, but everybody must learn to work under this culture. If we all know that we are traveling to Belgium on September 27th for a conference or for a meeting, we should start making plans for those things from now. But we know that we are traveling to Belgium on the 27th for a meeting. On the 25th, everybody's running head-to-head. It is too tight. It is too close for us to start making plans at that time. So we need enough ample time to make those plans so that we don't put people under pressure. And this is fast, again, creating pressure in the workplace. So I've just said that pressured management culture has become a very key enabler of stress in the workplace because we know what we have to do. We don't make plans. We make plans at the very tightest hour, almost at 11 minutes, and it's affecting workers. And this is what I see that happen most in the workplaces that we have worked for. Next slide, please. So this is not in the employee's best interest, and it doesn't make the right result to come from the effort we are putting in. Stress in its true meaning, stress is demand over resources. When you have a lot of demand with little resources to cope, I mean, that's what stress is all about. So when the imbalance happens between, or disequilibrium that happens between demand and resources to cope or capability to cope, that's where the stress comes from. So when we are giving people responsibilities, that's what I said earlier on, give them autonomy, give them all that they need, the resources they need to deliver on those responsibilities should also be given to them. When they don't have it, it creates pressure on them. That's why you notice that people wake up in the morning, they are afraid to go to work. You slept, you woke up tired than you were before you went to bed. Why? Because you're thinking about the job you have not completed and about the pressure that is inherent in that job based on simple things that would have been given to you to deliver on that job. That was being withheld. You don't give somebody a goat and pull rope on the goat's neck and you hold on to the rope, but you say the goat is for the person. No. If you give somebody a goat, leave the person with the rope, let the person have authority on how to manage what happens within what you've given to him or her. Next slide, please. Next slide. So the ever-changing pressure, inadequate support in workplaces and management, and the decreasing effect of leisure time put all of us at risk. So you realize that while we're growing up, I mean, we had park in Nigeria, as a clear example. We had amusement park. Parents would take their children and they go to park. They sit and have picnic. I can categorically say today that if you ask parents when last did you go on picnic with your children, you can barely have anyone ever that can confirm affirmatively that they went on picnic. Picnic has become like an essential commodity. It's expensive for us, right? Not that it's expensive to achieve. We don't have the time anymore. There are parks, they are not used. There are resorts, they are not used. There are gyms, they are not used. Everybody's locked up in the workplace. The work has become a very big burden. Work is good, no doubt, but work that is not good will always ruin our mental health. There's need to create a balance amongst both our our work life and our personal life and our leisure life suffers as a result of all the time that we put to work. So we must see how we can balance this out so that we can have at least manageable health and well-being outcome. Next slide, please. So the average work hour per week has increased since 1970s, while leisure time has decreased by 37%, according to Harry Pope's report. What that means is that every day we live, average work hour is increasing. Like I said earlier on, we are spending more time in the workplace than we spend for our personal self. So we find out that leisure time is fast decreasing. When leisure time decreases, it means all that we need to refuel or to re-energize mental health, they are decreasing. But we are loading them up with work and work, which of course we know have impact on our overall mental health. And when you look at it, even in the long run, we don't have time for physical activity. We don't have time to even connect with family members. We don't have time to connect with loved ones. Even most times in these days that we are in, when we are even to our loved ones, I saw that some time ago. We went for a family function. You're not supposed to be. These are families. But everybody was broken, disjointed. Why? Because of mobile phones. So mobile phones have become a very key issue that we should also be careful of. Husbands don't talk to wives anymore. Wives don't talk to children anymore. Children don't talk to siblings, don't talk to each other anymore. Why? Because of mobile phones. Even in my house, when I come home, I hardly see my children. They are all locked up in their rooms. Mobile phones has become what has put asunder amongst families. We also have to be careful what we do. And again, a lot of things we're driving all through to come from work, and we would get to, we are trying to, what's it that we lost while we're driving? We are all itching for. We have to see how we can moderate the use of this mobile phone. Let me sound a note of warning here. When we don't moderate this, which of course is affecting our mental health, we have a broken family unit. As a matter of fact, people run to workplace this day to hide. Issues at home are never addressed. Workplace have become hiding place for us. Or remember, there's a time that is ticking in that workplace, which of course is your retirement time. It will tick and tick until you retire. If you like create trouble at home and run to go and hide in the workplace, a time will come that the workplace where you're hiding, they will tell you time for you to go has come. Where are you go? Which home are you going to have to go to? You need to create time for family, because family is a whole lot. Family helps you to also influence your positive mental health in spite of what you get in the workplace. So let's keep this in mind. Understand the fact that yes, irrespective of all that we're going through the workplace, we must ensure that we create time. Most people don't even know. Some man told me that he doesn't know the class his son is. Once he doesn't even know the name of the school of his daughter. We can do better. We need to do better, and let's see how we can put everything together. Not let the family unit, get fully disintegrated, and we have more than mental health issue. As a matter of fact, in Nigeria right now, drug has become, some of the key issues that people battle with. Your children are on controlled substance. You don't even know. Behavior is changing. You are too busy to even see that behavior of your children are changing. Behavior of your spouse is changing. You are too busy to even see that there are negative changes because work has overtaken all of work. We have no time for. As a matter of fact, we don't have time for vacation anymore. What you do this year, and one of the things you must act on this year, write them down. If all these things we have talked about, any either one of them affects you, areas you need to make changes, just note it and ensure that you make positive changes in going forward. Next slide, please. We go on vacation also. We carry our laptop along with us. We think we go on vacation, we stay under in our room or in the beach. All that we're still doing is that we are working. We need to free ourselves, let our mind have a breath of fresh air. Workplace bullying and intimidation should not be something that should be heard in any organization. And this again also create high level of mental health condition in the workplace. Persons bullying can cause depression and anxiety and continue to suicidal behavior. You see, the truth is that what I've realized about leadership is that people who were highly supported while they were growing, while they were in lower level of management, trying to make ends meet or to climb to a level in management, they are the ones that end up bullying people. You get to manage, you go to management level right now, and you forgot that people supported you while you were at the lower level. But now you are a leader, people that have been given to you to work with, you are the one bullying them up and down. And they can't have peace because of you. But you, when you were at that level, nobody bullied you. To whom much is given, much is expected. Bullying should not be seen as a workplace culture. Anyone who is a bully in the workplace should be taken out for training. If he persists, should be shown the exit door. Nobody left his or her home to come to the workplace for his or her mental health to be ruined because there are bullies within the workplace. Bullying is not in anyone's interest and should be critically frowned against in the workplace. Next slide, please. But the question you may have, next slide. The question you may have, when the policy custodian becomes the abuser, what do you do? The person who should enforce the anti-bullying policy, when he now becomes the one that bullies people, what do you not do? Most times, this is what we see in the workplace. Those who should enforce the policies are the ones who are the bully. So in this place, you find out that it's a critical thing. Everyone become helpless. We don't know who to run to. The person should have run to report bullying becomes the one who bullies people. What is the hope from here? And this is where it becomes very, very critical. We don't know what to do when we get to this place. We're asking ourselves, how did we get here? What should we do going forward? It's quite a whole lot of confusion, but we need to see how we can have the right kind of leadership. I went to do a training yesterday for a certain company, and when I was done with that training, and some of the entire class were agitating that this training should be organized for top management. If top management doesn't know what we know now, they will not understand the song that we are singing. We all need to sing the same song. And if we must sing the same song, top management need to undergo that training. And right there and there, it was approved that top management must undergo the training, and that's one thing we're doing for them right now. So we want to understand that even leaders also need to be trained. Most of the leaders also have a whole of mental health issues they're dealing with. Most time, I was doing a training for some organization last time, and I was talking about employee. And the CEO told me, you talk about employee. What about employer? Employer are not aliens, they're human beings. I totally agree. Most time, employer are not the one we focus on employee. But there are employers also. They are people's husbands, people's wives, people's parents. We also need to see how we can cater for them. Most time, employers that are very good and focusing on the care of people suffer what you call compassion fatigue. They have given and given and given. There's nothing left for them to give. And most time when they have issues, there's no one to look up to. Next slide, please. So we also know that we have to keep the mental health and well-being of employers as a key priority. Come back to that slide. There's what we call the ILO Convention 190. We talk about the workplace workplace to prevent workplace violence and harassment. The truth is that this is a very good convention. You can note this convention 190, but sadly, oh, sorry, this is not Central Africa. This is South Africa. South Africa, Mauritius, Namibia, Somalia. Yes, Central Africa, Mauritius, Namibia, Somalia, Nigeria are the countries. Sorry, Central Africa are the countries that have domesticated these bills. That have ratified this convention in their local laws. If your country is not here, you need to go back home and start asking your government, why have we not ratified Convention 190? It's important because when you ratify Convention 190, it means you have ratified the convention that talks about that speaks against workplace harassment and violence, workplace violence and intimidation. So it's important that we put this in mind that I'm speaking to Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya right now. You can see your countries are not here. One of the things that you come out from this meeting we're having today is for you to go back after today, go back to your government, start making a demand, put a proposal up. Why has our government not ratified Convention 190, which of course talks about workplace violence and harassment? And once that is in place, it's able to help us guide against workplace harassment and bullying, which of course also able to protect employees' mental health and well-being. Nigeria ratified this about 4 or 5 years ago, which of course, we're very happy to see that happen. There's also there's also fundamentals principle of right at work, which of course is also part of the next slide, which of course is also part of what we should look out for. It was initiated by ILO. Next slide. It was initiated by ILO some time ago. So understand that you also have a right at work. 2022, these fundamental principles and right at work was initiated by ILO, and the right to safe work environment has become a basic fundamental human right. So, but when you talk about safe work environment, and part of that safe work environment also talks about the safety of your mental health and well-being. Next slide, please. So you can also draw this and draw your attention of the organization to this and see how they can actually implement that. Then you look at African countries and mental health legislation. If you look at countries that have national mental health legislation. These are the countries: Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, come back, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. I'm happy to see the three East Africa countries are here. I mean, your countries have it, but we need to also see among the 54 countries in Africa, if we say only about 7 of those countries have this. I mean, it's a big challenge. Yes, I know that there are other parchments of semblances of other such legislation across other countries, but we need what we can call a really varied and strength and formidable national mental legislation. National mental legislation is in place. We can draw from that and actually use that to draw to create what you call workplace mental health legislations. And what we have in other countries are also obsolete documents that were created most time by colonial masters, and they don't meet the new workplace realities. In Nigeria, as a clear example, we're using at some point what we call the Mental Health Ordinance of 1952, and which of course was not intense with the new workplace reality. But thank God for the last president that left, and he signed in what you call the National Mental Health Policy. So we have that right now. So I'm happy to see that most of the countries here, but just imagine from 54 countries, these are the countries that have it. I mean, this is not encouraging at all. We can do better across Africa. Next slide, please. Next slide. So this is what you call the mental health continuum. You know, we need to keep an eye on everyone within the workplace. And the truth is that everyone must watch out for each other. What we do is that workplace is not about I, workplace is about we. At the most impressive end here is when someone is excelling. That's the first one you have, when someone is excelling, and that's is good and bright. The second one, when he's thriving. But we should be concerned at the point that the person becomes unsettled. But most times we are not even able to see until the person struggles or goes into crisis. Why is this happening? We are not able to watch out for each other or give attention to duties. People that we know that work for us, they are undergoing changes, visible changes. Yet everyone is too busy to know that changes are happening within this person's life and or behavior, and we should ask the person what is going through. I suppose to give a clear example here. Most times we see someone that we know so well that have delivered so much in his job expectation, and now the person is struggling. It comes early to work, which of course is the character we know him to display. But right now the person comes to work very late to work. Even his mode of dressing has grossly changed, and a lot has happened around him, and people are not bothered. I mean, to look at what's going on. The next thing you see is that he's summoned and being given a warning letter, query by manager that he's not meeting his target, he's not meeting his deadline, and his attitude has changed. But the question is, why are we not looking for the underlying issues? I mean, behind the change of attitude, using the iceberg theory. What are the issues? What are the concerns that may have been affecting his behavior? Why this new behavior is going to? Most time that's not our concern. All we are looking out for is that he must be available, he must come early, he must meet his target. When we are praising so poorly, and his job is threatened. And when we are threatening his job, we are increasing his problem. You're already having enough he's dealing with. We are increasing his problem even the more. But how will you feel as HRO or the appraising partner when you got to find out that at the point you give this guy suspension because it wasn't delivering on his target or his deliverables limit, and you find out that at that time that we're antagonizing him, we're threatening him, we're suspending him, we're giving warning letter. At that time, you come to go down 4 months down the line, you realize that at that time we're doing this thing to this guy, battling a very bad divorce. Yes, he was working in our system, struggling with a very bad divorce situation. We didn't know that changed everything about him, and our workplace that should be where he could have succor. We didn't even understand that. Instead, we added to his problem, and we couldn't support him at the point he needed us the more. This is what we do to people most time in the workplace, and this is where mental health even hurt the more within the workplace. Next slide, please. So you see, the next slide talks about the same thing. This is just, I just put it in the different format that you can understand. You see, at the point of surviving here is what you call struggling, where the person is worried, nervous, irritable. We don't look at that until we get to a point when the person becomes anxious, exhausted, and all have you. That's not the time we start looking for how the person is faring. What we should have done, we missed everything, and we allow the person to fall into crisis, which of course become more of a problem for that person to deal with. Next slide, please. What are the 5 warning signs to look out for in mental health at work? First, you look at long-lasting sadness or irritability. Someone who used to be a jolly good fellow, always happy and alive. Let me use that word. Always happy and excited. All of a sudden, he's now looking so depressed, sad, no longer excited. All the trace of excitement in him or her has disappeared. When you get to him or her to play with him or her, he gets easily irritated. You should look at these signs and see what you can do with it. Secondly, when somebody is extremely high, this moment he has mood fluctuation, extremely high and low mood. This moment he's high, he's very excited. The next moment he has low moods. He's swinging on his or her moods. We should look out for such things. Excess fear, worry, or anxiety. This leads to anxiety disorder. When somebody is living in fear, he gets worried over little things, is anxious over little things, and we should get worried. Then again, you find people that used to be very, very open and excited to meet up with people. Now that's what you call social withdrawal. They no longer want to be seen outside. I mean, they don't want to associate with people. They finish from work. They no longer stay to say, let me chat with my friend. They carry their bag. They walk alone. They don't want anybody to associate with them. This social withdrawal. Then dramatic changes in eating and sleeping habit. I will always say, mental health, it has been researched and opined that eating disorder and disordered eating are psychiatric conditions. People use overeating and disordered eating to cope when they are going through mental health issues. So they'll be seen as psychiatric disorder. So when somebody that doesn't used to eat so much before, now he's eating so much, everything he sees he eats, you are seeing the person blowing up. I mean, astronomically, sleeping habit has changed. Either he's oversleeping or doesn't sleep at all. These are things you look out for. But let me say here that there's no harm asking people, are you okay? Most time we don't ask that question. Are you okay? Nobody asks. And most time in Nigeria, I don't know about East Africa, when you ask people, are you okay here? They believe that it's an insult. That maybe you feel they're mad. Something is wrong with them. Are you okay? And we should be honest enough to tell people if you're really okay or not. Are you okay is a way to look out for each other. Are you okay? Do you want to talk? If the person is not, just remember that I'm here at all time. Anytime you want to talk, please count on me that I'm available to listen. Let's reassure people that, I mean, we are there to listen to them. And someday might come where they have such time, they feel they have to talk. They might just beckon at you that they want to talk. Next slide, please. You see, when people are able to talk to someone, it's a very therapeutic approach to managing mental health condition. Okay, we must not also ignore the warning signs. And some of the warning signs we need to look out for is change in appearances. I mentioned that earlier on. Behavior that seems out of their usual character. I mentioned that. Then they may start taking more days off. The person no longer come to work as often as he used to do. He can call in and say, okay, I'm not feeling well, I can't come today. Start taking more days off. Performance be deteriorating, and then they become withdrawn or incommunicative. You stay with them all through, they won't say a word to you. Those are signs and symptoms that we should be looking out for in people. Next slide, please. So those are signs and symptoms we must look out for in people. When we see those signs and symptoms, we should be clear that, I mean, next slide, please. We should be clear that something is happening so dramatically. And when this prevails for too long in the workplace, the outcomes of mental health in workplace will lead to decision making will be altered, because when mental health prevails, it affects your ability to make clear decisions. So mental health issues actually affect your ability to make the right decisions. So you find out that a lot is going through your head, and the decision you made become impaired. You have impaired decision as a result of mental health condition. There's also what you call loss of confidence. You worry, and your heart is full of negativities. Okay, and when this happens again, you find out that people are beginning to exit. Workers are leaving. The truth is that workers leave not because they are not well paid. They leave because that place is toxic. Because every worker that wants to protect his or her mental health will not stay in the workplace that has toxicity, and before they get harmed, they just take a leave. So understand, if a worker, you have high attrition rate, you're also linked to check it out. It may also be because mental health prevalence in the workplace is causing people to leave. Okay, and again, you find out that again, people that ought to be promoted are not promoted in the system or in the culture. There's partiality and favoritism. Those that are due for promotion are not promoted, but those who are not due are promoted, and those who ought to be promoted are not promoted know that those who promoted were not due for promotion, and they live with that kind of hurt and feeling of disappointment and betrayal in the workplace and job insatisfaction, and they dwell with that in the workplace, and that leads to what you call their mood becomes so low, and which will lead to poor employee engagement. And again, they start asking for sick leave and living more in the hospitals and staying off work. And when you take time to do your customer survey after, we find that it should really be rated poor, because the good hands you have are exiting at every other time because of poor mental health conditions within the workplace. Next slide, please. Next slide. We need to break the silence, and this talks about the importance of mental health conversations at work. Most, like I said earlier, most times people don't want to talk about mental health. But why do we talk about malaria and fever and appendectomy and other things, headache and all what you have? But nobody wants to talk about mental health. We need to have what you call mental health conversation. Break the silence. Allow people to speak about mental health. As a matter of fact, this conversation must start by leadership. Let the CEO. I mean, it would be nice if you can have what you call have one day in a month or one day in a quarter. You can call your organization workplace mental health day. We don't have about maybe 20 or 30 minutes or 1 hour to just discuss. Let the CEO share. The CEO has the mental health story. Let him share his mental health story. What this does is that when the CEO shares his mental health story, it elicits further conversation. It gives confidence to people to be able to talk about mental health. Because what we think is that, oh, we are the only one that deal with mental health issue, we shouldn't speak. But to shock them to know that what you are dealing with is nothing compared to what the CEO has dealt with. So hearing the CEO talk about his mental health condition, it gives you that courage, that confidence to also be able to talk about mental health condition that you are dealing with. So it's important that we open up the stage, let people be able to, let's normalize it, let people be able to talk about mental health conditions and what they are dealing within the workplace. It's just a good way to ensure that we strengthen mental health management capabilities in our workplace. Next slide, please. We must not shut people up. People must not be shut up. Let's break that's a culture. Don't cover people up. Don't allow them to speak up. When they are dealing with issues, allow them to cry. Allow them to speak up. Don't say, "Oh no, don't talk. It's mental health." No. Let's break the stigma. Let's allow them to talk and let them talk without anyone judging them. It's important. We need to break that silence and let people be able to speak up that they have mental health issues. Is just part of the way to manage mental health condition. Next slide, please. People want to cry. Allow them to cry. You see, cry is therapeutic. Tears is cathartic. Let them flow from the eyes. Most times you are told that, oh, you are a strong man, don't cry. No. When it comes to mental health, nobody is strong. Being able to cry is a mark of strength. Shutting anyone up is a sign of weakness. Allow people to cry. Everyone goes through it. When you cry, it's an exhale of things burdened within you. Tears cleanse the eyes and it heals the heart. Allow people to cry when they want to cry. Most times, when I've done a lot of bereavement management for most organizations. When somebody dies in our organization, we lose somebody, or somebody dies or whatever. Let's just say, okay, everybody should come back to work. Let's have what we call bereavement management session. You think everybody is strong? There was an accident, somebody died, and you think everybody should just come to work the next day. No, people that saw what happened, what happened is running through their mind. They lost a colleague that was dear to them. There should be what you call bereavement management session that must be held for the organization. So in that moment, we're able to talk to ourselves. We're able to give a clear understanding of what happened. Allow people to cry. Let them release this steam so that they're strong enough and stable to go back to work. Those that are not able to start resume work immediately, give them time off. People don't mourn the same way. Bereavement must not be the same pattern. Mr. A and Mr. B could mourn in different ways. It could be longer in some people. Allow them to have that time when they are strong enough to come back to work is very important. Next slide, please. So the stigma is there, and that's why mental health is talked about. The stigma has tied everyone together that we don't talk about mental health. Let's break the chain of this stigma so that we are able to talk about mental health, not just in the workplace, in our homes. Let's be able to say, I think I need to see a mental health physician. At the moment that we talk about this, and nobody have a facial gesture or a facial expression that seems to look like surprise or you to know. When someone say, I think I need to see a mental health physician, it should be like when anybody that says that I need to see my GP. Let's break that stigma. Let's not judge people that are going through mental health. When people that are going through mental health condition come to confide in you, you see, Why people don't talk to people anymore is because they spoke to you about their mental health condition on the basis of confidentiality, and what they told you about, they heard it from on that party's mouth. So people trusted you to tell you things that were dear to them, dear to their heart. They trusted you, and you betrayed them, and they will have issues that they have to deal with tomorrow. They don't know who to talk to. So let's break the stigma, and when people talk to us on the basis of confidentiality, let's be trustworthy enough to hold this information confidential to our heart. Next slide, please. There is power in admitting what we don't know. Most times we are not able to do a lot because we don't know enough about mental health in the workplace. So there's need to institute training. If we don't know, let's agree that we don't know. Get an expert in. Let them train us on workplace mental health, what we need to know. HRO units have to go through this. Employees, what they call employees, managers in the workplace. Okay, they have to know the workplace. They have to know how to manage mental health in people. So we need to see how we can bring training to the workplace. It will demystify the ignorance that exists in mental health amongst employees today. So when we don't know, let's agree that we don't know. Let's beckon at an expert. Let the expert come teach us. We can't know everything. There are experts who know this thing. Let them come and teach us in the workplace so that we are able to move forward. There's need for intervention. So when we know what we have to also do, the next thing, we know what are the issues, what they are in the workplace, where they come from, how we're currently dealing with them. So what are the possible interventions that we should be looking at? Next slide, please. There are intervention from management level, from managers. There's also what you call personal intervention that we may be looking at. Let's first rehumanize the workplace. Understand the fact that everyone that you brought to the workplace was first primarily a human being, and don't treat them anything less than being a human being. So let's not treat people like machines or robots. Remember that everybody you're dealing with in the workplace is a human being, and they have enough that they can handle. They have enough capacity that they can handle while you deal with them in the workplace. There's a duty of care by employers that you must meet the duty of care to create the right working conditions for employees. And most times, employers are not up to their billing in getting this right working condition for employees. Employees are exhausted. All the employer keep his eye on is on the profit. What we do right now is that we are training managers only on how to create profits. We are not training managers on how to keep an eye on employees. We must train our managers on how to keep an eye on both the profit and both the employees. Employees primarily the first, because it's when they keep an eye on employees that we can make the kind of profit we are looking at for. Create conversational program. As a CEO, it's not your responsibility to sit down. Don't be an armchair rocking CEO. Be everywhere within your belief law. Have a conversational program. What can we do to help you feel less pressured and more motivated? Ask workers, walk around, meet workers working. How are you doing? Are you okay today? Do you want to talk? Is there anything you want to talk to me about? Just make yourself accessible for people to talk to. Be conversational. It makes people feel comfortable and able to let out what they really feel within their system. Openly talking about mental health is very therapeutic. Show extra friendship in opening up the mental health conversation. You will realize how many people want to talk. The truth is that a lot of people are valuable to talk, but we're not available to listen to them. So we are just walking past. If only I could be talked to. If only this person will be available to speak to me. So most time people want people to talk to them, but we are all too busy. Yet we are seeing the changes in people. We can't even notice them. When you want to talk to someone, you can talk to someone and further destroy the person's mental health condition, or make it more difficult. When you go to talk to someone, go with an open mind and do not be judgmental. Most time we go to talk to people, we go with a judgmental spirit, judgmental mindset, the blame game mentality. Somebody's already going through a lot and wants you to talk to him or her. All you go to do is you get there, you start blaming the person. You are not helping the person. You are further worsening the person's condition. When it comes to mental health, blame game is not tolerated. It's anti-therapeutic. It's not needed at all in mental health management. A lot happens under our supervision. We do not support them, and employees are looking for who to talk to, and no one has that time. We need to create time to support when changes start happening within our employees, and focus on ways that we can talk to these employees is very important. So, firstly, you must know your people. If you don't know your staff, you won't know when changes are taking place, because the person who knows that the staff is changing is the person who knows his or her staff. So most times we don't even focus on knowing who our staff are. When they change, we don't know. And those changes, they last for a long time. And by the time we start noticing it, the worst has already happened. Things we must know is that the world has shortage of listeners. The world has shortage of listeners. We need people that can listen in the world that we are in. Not just listening, active listening. Active listening can be learned. And when you talk about active listening, you listen without interruption. You listen without facial expression. You listen without bodily gestures. No matter what the person says to you, irrespective of how bad, how awkward it sounds, you are not permitted to have a facial expression to express surprise. Your role as a listener, mental listener, is to help the person normalize those conditions. Nothing should surprise you. Sit and listen quietly and see how you can help the person provide solution. The best way of being helped is to be listened to by someone who believes you and who is prepared to listen. And again, when you listen to people, that's a pathway to recovery. Knowing that somebody has been able to listen to me, you find out I just give them, okay, at least the load in my heart had been reduced. The turning point could be someone noticing I needed help and was available to listen to me. And that's the first point that this whole conversation must begin. Next slide, please. What are some of the smart approaches that management must deploy? Prioritizing our work, learning to put off things we do not want to do will help us manage our pressure. Most times when you get to our tables, they are loaded with so many things. I got to one accountant's table one day, one auditor's table one day. I was asking him, how did you work here? If I work in such an auditor's table, it will give me mental health condition. There were files, they were books, it was just so much. So things you're not working for that, they take them away. The fewer things you have on your table, the better it is for your mental health. Keep a tidy workplace. Well-organized workstation boosts our efficiency and reduces stress. Ask for help when necessary. I mean, you are not a Superman. Everybody can be drained. Just ask for help when you know you need the help. Limit the time spent on checking messages and email. Most time we are quick to check messages, quick to check email, quick to check our WhatsApp. And any wrong thing any bad news that drops in changes your mood. So please be careful. Those are smart things, smart electronics that are also changing the state of mental in our time. Take enough break. Do not work for too long hours. If breaks help you, just walk out. Like for me, what I do right now is that when I sit for too long, I just step downstairs, go out of the office. I walk through the adjoining street just to be alone, have the time for myself, and I come back. What I do with that, I break the chain of sedentary. I also have time to also think through and have a personal time for myself. Learn to say no. People dump work at you, and you are the one who's like the major dump. Work that nobody can do, they dump it at you. You say, okay, bring it. You keep taking it, work that you cannot do. This will totally pressure you and draw you beyond your coping limit. Be cautious and respectful to our colleagues to avoid toxicity. Most times, toxicity that we go through in the workplace, most of the people that suffer the toxicity are the one that started it. You are not friendly, you are not kind towards people, you are not pleasant in your approach, and when they feed you back with that same energy, you suffer that, and on the long run, you live with mental health issues. Then what do we need to do also as managers? Creating supportive and compassionate environment, supportive leaders and managers. We must train our leaders. When we train our leaders and managers, they're able to create supportive environment and compassionate management system for people that they super intend over. During performance appraisal, we mostly focus on what employees could not do. That has to stop. Let's focus on what they were able to do. And when employees come for appraisal, everything you have on that appraisal sheet is not all that they couldn't do, but what the person appraising employee always look out for is what they couldn't do. If you could look at what they couldn't do, it means also you are able to look at the little they were able to achieve. It will go a long way. We can also use performance appraisal sessions to get an insight about our employees, not just to check what they couldn't do. Let's see how they feel about the organization. It's not just to appraise the employee what you couldn't do, your target. Ask the employees how they feel working in this place. How do they feel about the organization? Do you think, okay, what are the things? I mean, we need to know. It's very important, okay? Open up conversation that may not be job related. Find out how the person has coped within the period under review. How has it been? How is your manager? How is he treating you? You need to know all those things. Next slide, please. And also ask as employee, are there areas you think that the organization can make changes? Employees to give you feedback also is very important. Next slide, yeah. Managers can help improve mental health of employee. One, identifying and reducing likely triggers for stress. What are the triggers that you can identify that reduces stress to employees? What you cannot identify, you cannot mitigate. We must first, that's why I said the training of managers is very important. If the managers are trained on how to identify the triggers, the stressors, they are able to understand how to deploy mitigations. So they have to know what the triggers are to stress in the workplace so that they know what are the mitigators or controls that they can actually deploy. Spotting early warning signs. We talked about that one earlier on. So if you are not trained enough, you won't know how to spot what you call the early warning signs. Tackling the stigma around mental health by encouraging people to talk about it openly. Let's mental health be discussed like we discuss typhoid and fever or malaria. It's important that we allow people to talk about mental health openly. It shouldn't don't feel disgusted when people discuss a mental health issue. Encourage that conversation is very important. Creating a supportive working culture where people feel that they are able to share their worries and concerns. See, the truth is that we must all look out for each other. The moment I share my worries and concerns within our workplace or our department, and the next thing I hear it from a friend who works in a different company entirely, it means we have broken the bond of trust. Trust should exist. Confidentiality should be our watchword within the workplace. We're able to share our issues without fear of anybody taking it to a third party. Promoting good work-life balance is very good. Then intervening quickly and effectively when people develop mental health concerns. How do you intervene quickly when you cannot spot the changes? Firstly, to spot the changes and able to deploy early interventions. Some interventions by managers may be to create click on it again, to start talking about mental health like you talk about physical. I talk about be a good manager, have relationship with people you manage. This is always the starting point. Most time managers, when you become managers, all of a sudden you have chip on your shoulder. When you're not a manager, there will no chip on. When you become a manager, there's a sudden chip you have on your shoulder. You become unduly arrogant. People cannot assess you anymore. You become like a deputy god you create a class. There's a great demarcation between you and the people who are supposed to superintend over. The moment there is a war between you, who is the leader, and the people that are supposed to lead, there's a problem. So we need to understand the fact that this has to be something, a place where they should start. Okay, be a good manager, then this is always then be approachable. Make yourself approachable. People have issues to talk about. They can't come and tell you because you do not make yourself approachable. I mean, let's open those doors so that people can come to us and tell us when they have issues. Understand you may not be right at all times. The truth is that nobody has monopoly to wisdom. So if you're a manager, doesn't mean that you're a master of all. You don't know everything. So in my approach to work is when I have issues I want to discuss, I want to put or change I want to make. I have things I bring it before everybody in the office. We sit down. I start from the lowest tab. What do you think about this? They all come off like that until before you get to the manager. Before you get to the managers, we have solutions. You don't know everything. See, the job of a leader is not to sit and make decisions and superimpose it on people. The job of as a leader is to allow the people you lead over or you lead to have input in the decision on what we are doing and how it affects them. If you are the one making decisions, you find out that what I've realized also is that by leaving those people that work with me to make decisions, that I always fine-tune them or moderate those decisions, it has saved me a whole lot. I would have made so much mistake. Why do you employ people and when you know that you don't need it to make decisions for you? If you alone could do the job, you don't need to employ people. But employing people means you have more heads that can think through the troubles. Allow them to think, allow them to deploy their head. It's very important, okay? Have a good management practice, management system that is people-centric, management system that has compassion in it. That's what we need. Also, separate your home and personal issues from your work life. Don't in any way allow what you go through in your home front have interference with your job. Your spouse had issue with you before you left. It doesn't mean that when you come into the workplace, you say what's good about the money. They're not your problems. That's allowing what happened in the home front to interfere with the job you are doing. No, don't make people that you work with become victims of what your spouse did to you at home. Open up and ask for help when you need help. Learn how to smile. Smile is beautiful. Next slide, please. A lot of us have not smiled for a very long time. Don't just carry your face and disfigure it with frown as if heaven and earth has passed away. It takes a lot of cells in your face to frown, but fewer cells to actually smile. But smile has become something that we don't even encourage anymore. Let's learn to smile. Laughter is therapeutic. As a matter of fact, studies have said that laughter is a non-pharmaceutical therapy to mental health. When you smile, your body releases oxytocin that is good to improve your happy hormone. So learn to smile. Then practical tools to help or support also. We need to develop what we call employee assistance program. One of the misconceptions I want to correct here, employee assistance program is not just for the employee only. It's for both the employee and the employee's family. Employee assistance programs must be extended to the employee and the employee family as well. Not just what you say, okay, oh, it's only our employees. No, it must be adjusted to always support employees' family. Then flexibility of work has to be flexible. Everyone that is rigid is not a good job. The reasonable adjustment, allow employees to have longer breaks. They want to have breaks. That's very crucial. Next slide, please. I think we'll run out of time now. Next slide. They create the C culture. I call it the compassion culture. Workplace has one of the biggest stressors in people's life. Be a compassionate manager. Show compassion to people. The truth is that to whom compassion is given or is shown, compassion is expected. Let's be compassionate in our workplace. It just helps us demystify all that comes with stress in workplace. Next slide, please. So let's just bring the C culture back to the workplace and see how that can help us. Also demystify the mental health issue. In supporting, we need to be careful because I mentioned this earlier on, compassion fatigue. When we are caring for people, let's also be careful, knowing that when we get exhausted. You will care for people to the extent that our care capability run into empty. And that's what you have we call compassion fatigue. We have shown compassion. There's nothing left. Even we need compassion, we're into compassion fatigue. And again, let me say here, fatigue has no medication. The only antidote to fatigue is rest. Individual level intervention. Be open to talk. Share your feelings with trusted people. The little time you have, learn to have fun. We don't have time for fun anymore. Engage in things that make you happy. Things that make you happy. Just see how you can catch up with those things and just have fun. Create a sense of humor. Laughter improves mental health. We talked about that earlier on. According to World Psychology article 2014, humor combats fear, provides comfort, relaxes and reduces emotional psychological pain, boosts immune system, reduces stress, spread happiness, and cultivate optimism and helps to communicate with others. You can see. So whichever you look at it, learn to bring humor back to the workplace. In my office, everybody know me. That's why I do more. I tell people that I'm not a serious person, but I get my job done. So let's just not be too serious in the workplace. Bring humor in and let's get the job done. Set aside quality time to spend with your family. Why I said that earlier on, family is everything. Adopt healthy lifestyle. What you need to change, identify them, change them as quickly as possible, and do not be afraid to seek professional help. Next slide, please. When you are hot, I beg you, please admit to yourself that you are hot. Let's not live in pretense. Am I hot? Yes. Admit to yourself. That's where recovery will come from. So if you don't admit that you are hot, you are hiding it, you cannot get help. So please, when you are hot, let's be bold enough to admit that we are hot and seek help. Next slide, please. And when you get hot, the next thing you do, the next person you must talk to is yourself. The next step is you have to talk to someone, but the person must talk to yourself. Go to the mirror. Ask yourself what really happened. Learn to do a post-mortem of things that happen. Review, have what you call a review or reassessment. What really happened? Is there a way I could have done this better? Are there things I could have done I didn't do? Learn to have what we call retrospective attitude. You find out that you are able to use to correct what is to come in the future if you do this. Next slide, please. You also have to see how you can manage expectation. Expectation is what I see that hurts a lot of people. Expectation puts you under mental. For me, I always say, most times I don't expect this from anybody. But when it comes, let it surprise me. When you are unduly expectant and it doesn't come, how do you feel? So manage your expectation and don't expect too much from people so that you can manage your mental health. Next slide, please. Improving your sleep and well-being. Learn to sleep. Most times, people don't even sleep up to the required number of hours of sleep. You should sleep between the minimum of 6 to 8 hours a day. I know that most of us don't have that. When you sleep, your neurons go to rest, preparing you for the next day activities. Sleep is a part of the way you can manage your mental health and we must get adequate number of hours sleep. If you look at this slide and you look at where the age you fall into, sleep is age dependent. You look at the age you fall into in this category in this slide, and it's just telling you the number of hours of sleep that you are required to have per time. Is very important. Next slide, please. Next slide. You should also learn to strike a good work balance. Next slide, please. As I talked about this earlier on, also learn to strike a good work balance, see what you can do then. Effect of sleep in that when you don't sleep very well, long-term consequences of sleep that may lead to clinical depression, heart attack, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. Inadequate sleep impacts on your emotional health and influences behavior that are unduly irrational. Adequate sleep keeps organs healthy and regulates your hormones, and one of them is also the happy hormones. Inadequate sleep reduce immunity and makes you susceptible to infection. So you see, whichever way you look at it, sleep is beneficial not just to your mental health, but to your mental health and your overall well-being. Next slide, please. Next slide. No, next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Where does this hurt in retirement? Just click on the next slide, please. Like I made some submission on retirement as we were starting, and the truth is that retirement has been seen as the world's longest coffee break. If we want to enjoy our coffee, which of course is our retirement, we must learn to put up the right behavior, because everything we do today goes a long way in adversely affecting. When your mental health has been grossly affected, you can't enjoy retirement. Next slide, please. You see, the truth is that what does labor must labor, the end of labor is to gain leisure. But most times, what we do is that the end of labor put us into more labor. Why? Because what we ought to do while we're working, while we're in the labor field, we didn't protect our health, we didn't protect our well-being. And when we end of labor, just click on that slide. End of labor has brought us to another time of labor, when end of labor should help us to gain leisure. Next slide, please. So at the end of the day, you find out that you retire, you get tired before your retirement. Why? Because how you've been used in workplace, demand. Next slide, demand. Everything that came to the workplace have got you tired, yet you have not retired. All this put together have impact on you before you even leave the workplace and go into retirement. The retiring mind, some retirees ease smoothly into retirement, spending more time with hobbies or family and friends, but research find experience anxiety, depression, debilitating feelings of loss, says a researcher in her book Retiring Mind and How to Make Psychological Transition to Retirement. Most times it is very correct. People, that's why, as I said earlier on, for those of you who cause trouble at home, stop causing those troubles and make peace. Because the time will come that the place you want to hide right now, which of course is your workplace, they will tell you to go back home because your time in the workplace has ended. Mostly when we organize town hall in the office, what do we talk? What do we speak? Tell ourselves in that town hall. Next slide, please. Most time in that town hall, we talk about profit, we talk about productivity, but we don't talk about the people. We need to reverse this. Our town hall meeting must talk about people centric. And now less than we talk about profit. Now we talk more about profit, about productivity. We put more pressure on people, which of course affect them. And even at retirement, you see, when you work so much all through your life, you retire, you can't stop working. That's why you see research have said that a lot of people retire and they look for how to run back to work, because that's all that they know over their years. They don't know what leisure is. They don't know how to rest. They are running back to work because we have used them so much, and this adversely affects retirement. We have trained supervisors in our workplaces to keep an eye on profit and productivity, but we have not trained supervisors to keep an eye on the people that are on the production floor. So the cumulative impact of all this put high burden on people that retire, because the impact of what we use them to do in the workplace did not happen while they were still in the workplace. It happens 10, 20 years even after they went through those things. And those times that are having those impacts that have been accumulated, they enter the retirement period. So we make that retirement an unhealthy place for them. Like I said earlier on, family is everything. When you lose this, you lose everything. Next slide. When you lose this, you lose everything. Next slide, please. So as we live today, we need to understand that yes, we stay in the workplace, we stay in our home also. They need to take personal decision, personalize it. Don't wait for your manager or your supervisor or your MD. Make personal decisions. What are those things you need to change in your life based on all this you have heard today? Go back home, make adjustments, make those decisions. Next slide, please. Next slide. We must keep an eye on two basic things. Next slide. And you must ensure you get focused on improving your dietary pattern and physical activity. These two have a long way of affecting your mental health. When you become so bloated with your body side, you lose relationships. People are not in debt towards you because you are overblown. But when you get involved in physical activity, it actually boosts your mental health. Again, you have to commit to make a plan of action. Commit to an action. What you want to do. What are those things you want to change? Commit to those actions. The question is, when am I going to start this? Start today. Set a date today. Set a plan of action. Track your progress and reevaluate. There must be something you need to do, something you need to commit to based on what you know your life is right now. Commit to something and work on it and get improvement out of it on the long run. Next slide, please. Next slide. You must keep an eye on the goal. Even when you commit to an action, you will struggle, but don't focus on the struggle. Focus on the response. So whatever you want to do, take your eyes off the struggle, focus on the response. The achievement may not be too high part time, but every achievement you make, give yourself a tap on the back. Plan regular health assessment. Those who think they have no time for fitness, sooner or later we have time for illness. Remember, fitness also improves your mental health. Schedule annual health assessment. Click on it again, please. Schedule annual health assessment and ensure you see a doctor just to check how you are doing. And these are part of the things you must do at all times. And when you are given a report, act on your report, return for reassessment, and create time for exercise. The American Sports Medicine Association said exercise is medicine and doctors should prescribe it. So exercise also improves your mental health. Next slide, please. We are done now. Then remember also, I think save this date. When you get into a workplace, as you come in, a date has been saved for you, and that date that has been saved for you is the date that you retire. So keep that in mind. No matter how you go to hide in the workplace, based on the trouble you have created at home, when that date that has been saved come, you will exit that place, and that trouble you'll be running from home, you'll be confronted with that trouble at that time. Next slide, please. As we conclude, please note, rehumanizing the workplace is the first and very fundamental step towards employees' mental health and well-being. We must first understand that our employees, above everything, were first human beings before they became employees. There is no culture that is older than human culture. Treat all employees as human beings. Next slide, please. And you must every day, you must at all time and every next slide, at all time and every day learn to declare my life matters. Thank you so much, and I'll take questions now if there are any.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ehi. The team on the chat. We have seen health. It's a strong component of our lives. So we have a question from Paul. He says, for an active work site, work is fast moving and there is little to no time to engage each and every worker in the team or in our families who we may have little time to engage with. Please advise on the steps we leaders, I think that should be the employers, can take to slowly build their culture of mental health among first our team, department, second our organization as a whole, and third families at home. I think this is basically how to balance the work and the social life, family, and everything. I think we can. Then the other question I'm seeing on group is from Mr. Ediger. It's saying, what happens when the leaders or managers are the ones mentally stressed? Could you give some insights to the solution when leaders are the ones in trouble? How do they get helped? Yes, so we have seen that mental health is a strong component of our lives. It affects everyone. So it's very important that we guard our mental health and do our engage in everything that we are doing and try to balance our work life and our family lives, because this is very very critical thing. And also for the employers, I guess that we humanize our workplaces so that we give these people or our employers a safe workplace, because remember, people are not robots. So let's also try to be friendly in our workplaces, because of this, people usually hold back or usually don't engage with different people or their different employees. So every time you are rude to someone, just know you are mentally affecting them. So let's try to put a smile every day on someone's face. If you have not yet smiled today, please get something to make you smile so that you guard your mental health. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Ehi, for those questions.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure there are questions. I think the question there that someone said, if the leaders, how do you help the leaders? The truth is that when the leaders are the one that are stressed, it means in that organization we have not actually built what you call a mental health culture. And you can't build a mental health culture when it's not reflective in our policy. Most times I always say most policies that were designed before 2020, because it's obvious that most of them do not have what you call the mental health culture, the mental health component. Every policy must have a mental health component, and with the mental health component is there, is go help all of us in a great deal, so that we know that we have an EAP system. The EAP system in the workplace is it's not only for the employees, it's also for the employer. It's also for the employer, not just the employer, the employer and his family as well. So we need to see how we can also have within the EAP structure have external support. They must have clinical psychologists, mental health physicians that we have externally, because most times we realize that people are not willing to talk to people within the system about their mental health issue. That's a culture. What do? Let's have what we call an external mental health consultant that we have employed or contracted within our system, that people can go to and feel comfortable to speak to that mental health physician, or that they're going to, so that they're able to get. But like in my office today, in my office now, there are a number of organizations we work for that refer our people to us. I mean, to do, some even send them in just to do random drug and alcohol testing. Some bring them in just to have a mental health conversation with us. And we had those sessions. Whatsoever we have as conversation with those people, the organization will never know if there are issues that we feel that should be done for them. We advise the organization on those issues, but never know the content of the conversation we have with the people. But those people, they are not comfortable to talk to their managers or their MDs in the office. But us being an external third party, external party, they are willing to talk to us. So that's what we should do. Even the CEO that has issue, there should be an external party is able to talk to. And he should not be too feel more like a Superman. Oh, I'm strong enough. I don't want to talk to anybody. No, everyone should feel vulnerable. When you feel vulnerable and be able to talk to someone that could offer you succor or help in such critical time of need.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Ehi. I'm seeing someone raising up their hand. Okay. So the other question we're having, I think it was about how a person can balance their work life and their family life and their other engagements, maybe through because the question was going like, let me repeat it, I think. Paul asked, uh, for an active work site, work is fast moving and there is little or no time to engage with each other. So, like at the workplaces, people are always busy, uh, and also, or in families who may have little time to engage with. Please advise on steps the leaders, we have covered the leaders in the other question, uh, can take to slowly build the culture of the mental health among first the team, the department, second organization as a whole, third families at the home. So in the first question, it tried to cover the department and organization where we are told that we have to have our mental health policy in place in our workplaces. This can guide us on the mental health engagements to involve in our workplaces.
I got you. The truth is, what is important to you, you create time for it. you can't all say that work is moving, that work that is moving so fast. When you ignore your family, ignore everybody, when that work ends, what becomes of you? So we must understand how to do things in moderation. Yet I know the work is moving so fast, everybody's engaged. But the truth is that in the midst of this engagement, you can't lose what matters to you. Create time. Create time. If it means create time to talk to your family, create time to whatever if the work is moving. You don't even know how your children are being raised. You don't even know how your spouse is feeling. They don't see you, at all. At the end of the day, who are you laboring for really? That's the question. So it doesn't matter how fast the work is moving. People that matter to you, create time for it. Principally in that chain is your family. Like I said earlier on, when everything fails, the only team you have to fall back to is your family. You can't say you're too busy. You can't have time to have engagement. Even if it's a two-boss talk you have in the office, before the work starts. Talk among yourselves. Encourage each other. Hug yourself. Ask yourself how you are feeling. Even if it's 5 minutes, that's enough. In spite of how busy the schedule is or how fast the time is running. And these are my submissions.
Hey, thank you so much, Dr. Hehi. So yes, we have to create time for the things that matter most. So we have to try to balance between the work and our families. However much we are busy, I believe the weekends should be there. So we should try to engage. Yes, I had a hand up. Yes, Brian. Hello.
Esther, there are more questions in the chat. Kindly address them.
Okay. We have a question in the chat. Okay. This question says, Dr. Ehi, kindly help us talk about grief stages and how it can be managed. I have encountered many workers being affected by grief when they lose their dear ones.
Thank you so much for saying that. One of the things we do when we talk about bereavement management is let's create time. What we have done over there, let's create time to stop the work. If we stop the work for the sake of all of us, heaven will not fall. Create time, even if it's 2 hours. Let everybody come together. Let's sit. Let's sit and look at what really happened and look and ask everybody, give people time to talk. How they feeling about what happened? What's their impression? What they think that management did different that could have been done better? What they think that they themselves could have done better? How they feeling? When you discuss that, let them talk about the guy that died. What does that death mean to them? When you are saying this thing, how close? How close? How do you feel about this? How close were you to him? How do you feel about this? When you are talking about this, you find out that at some point everyone starts crying, and that's the emotional area you must take them to. Let everyone, even especially people that seem to feel like Superman, they start crying, and that's the moment where we all cry and we all make a bond that this happened, but we should make it the last. We all hold our hands together. No, we find out this will not happen again. How are we going to make it happen again? The next set of weeks is initiating trainings that speak to prevention of that accident, of those things that led to that accident that guy died from. So you must get into that emotional stage where they all break into tears. Let them. What does this mean to them? If this was to be them, then told them what happened. So ask them those emotional questions, and you also who is leading it, be vulnerable. Let everyone talk together. Then we find out that when we all cry, we get off the mood. Those that can see work, allow them to work. Those that feel that they're emotionally exhausted for the day. That's the essence of the bereaved management. Those that feel they're exhausted for the day, they can't work anymore. Allow them to go home. They can come back the next day, and that's the stages we use in managing bereavement management.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doctor. Our last question we shall have from the chat section. It says, how do you help people understand that family time is important, especially those who earn a daily wage? Most of these workers look at earning every penny at the expense of family. Thank you.
The truth, let me start by saying that you don't earn for yourself, you earn for family. Okay? I'm sure most of us saw recently how Pep Guardiola's wife filed a divorce against her husband because it wasn't her husband at home. Every money Guardiola was making, I'm not sure it was even part of it. Sometimes it's not the money they are looking for, and that's it. But they are back together right now. It's not the money she was looking for. She wanted her husband. So understand the fact that when you create a vacuum, people suffer. Benny Hinn is a clear example. Benny Hinn was busy preaching God's word from country to country, city to city. The wife was left without a husband. She filed him for a divorce. Thank God for God that they're together right now. So people need companionship. You can't say I'm earning because you are earning. The people you are earning for, you forget about it totally. Things should be done in moderation. Things should be done in moderation so that we are all able to live together. I mean, at the end of the day, after all the earnings, you come back home, you have meet an empty home. Have you done anything good? No. Let's see how we can moderate this. You live and earn for family and not an empty house. So while you are every day or you're on the field every day earning, remember that there's a family that needs your engagement. No matter how late you come back, spend quality time with your family. It makes all the difference.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doctor. If there are any more questions, please drop them in the chat section. And we also have links that have been shared in the chat section so that we can be able to give feedback on the session. And also, if you have any more questions, please share them in the group for more engagement. Thank you so much, Dr. Ehi. This has been the session. And thank you for everyone who has been able to engage, ask the questions. Hope you have been helped understand what mental health is and how we are going to what we can do to help our employers, our employees, because we have seen also that employees suffer mental health with the compassion fatigue. So we should try to do everything balancedly and engage everyone because everyone matters in this cause and be able to help and improve our mental health. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ehi. I'm not seeing any more questions. If we have any more questions, we shall be typing them in the WhatsApp group, or we shall also send our emails. We have shared the email in our major WhatsApp group for SHAO, and it shall be shared on all our platforms so that we can be able to get any feedback, any questions. Please engage. Dr. Ehi is here to assist us. Thank you so much. So we are going to have our closing remarks from our president, Mr. Sandy. Over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ehi. On behalf of the Health and Safety Association of Uganda, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Ehi, the president of the Occupational Safety and Health Africa, for delivering today's insightful and impactful webinar on mental health. Dr. Ehi, your deep expertise and thoughtful presentation have not only enlightened us on the importance of mental health in the workplace, but also equipped us with the practical tools to foster a healthy and more supportive environment for all. Your dedication to advancing mental health awareness is truly inspiring, and today's session has left a lasting impression on us all. You have spoken a lot. You've spoken about how workplaces now have become a hiding place. You have spoken about when the policy custodian becomes the abuser. You have challenged us to work closely to look at Convention 190 ratification and the recommendation of C206. You have said everyone must watch out for each other. You have challenged us to create a mental health day at workplace. And indeed, you have said it's okay sometimes not to be okay. Being able to cry is a mark of strength, that there's power in admitting that we don't know all. Let's first rehumanize the workplaces You also mentioned that the duty of care by the employer to create a safe working environment. You mentioned the smart management approaches that we can use. And you did mention nobody has monopoly to wisdom. You tackled the employee assistance programs that must be extended to the family members, creating a compassionate culture. You mentioned that fatigue has no medication. The only antidote is rest to fatigue. And plus a lot many, I know all these people are picked and they will be able to go back and internalize. They will look at what their roles and responsibilities are, not only at the different workplaces, but also in the family and the different communities. Thank you once again for your time, your wisdom, and your ongoing commitment to the health and safety of workers everywhere. We look forward to continuous collaboration in future. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Just maybe just to reemphasize what the moderator said early, Uganda is set to host the International Vision Zero Africa Conference in 2025 from August 27 to 29 at Speak Resort Munyonyo in Kampala. This conference will be held under the theme From Commitment to Action, Realizing Vision Zero in Africa. So this significant event aims to bring together industry leaders, policymakers, and safety professionals to champion workplace safety, health, and well-being across. So the conference is co-hosted by the Safety and Health Association of Uganda, OS Africa, the International Social Security Association, and the African Vision Zero Network, among other partners. This conference is building upon the momentum of previous conferences that were held in Lagos, Nigeria 2021 and Livingstone, Zambia 2023, aiming to foster discussion and innovation in occupational health and safety. Uganda's Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Madame Beta Mong, announced the event highlighting the country's commitment to improving workplace safety. President Yoweri Museveni is expected to officiate at the event as the chief guest. The conference will feature high-level plenary sessions, keynote addresses, policy dialogues, and panel discussions and expert roundtables, providing a platform for advancing us. So it's now open for registration. For Ugandans, East Africans, and Africans, the registration fee is 80 USD. And for the rest, I think it is 200 US dollars. President Emeritus, Mr. Edgar, can guide me on that. So we encourage our members to start registration. As SAO is the key stakeholder in this, we all need to fully register and participate. And also those who are part of the national organizing, we look forward to your contribution to ensure that this international conference will be a success. Thank you all. Over to you. Over to you, moderator.
Esther, you there? Not Dr.
Yeah.
Ehi, you can in a minute you can give your parting shots and then you can call it an evening.
That's my
Okay.
network.
I want to thank
Yes, ma'am.
everyone, mostly the Safety and Health Association of Uganda, for the great work you're doing. And I find this so interesting that you are seeing mental health as a great concern that you feel people should be educated on. One thing I'll say here is that until knowledge is translated into practice, we have not learned. Like the president said that on, let's internalize what we learned here. Let's go back to our workplace and see how we can use this to improve workplace and strengthen our mental health culture. Like I emphasized in my presentation, let's see how we can write good proposal to hold our country accountable. So now that most countries don't have a mental health policy, and some countries don't have they have not ratified the Convention 190. It's important that you start writing and engaging your government and holding government. They may not have enough information on how we can collectively see how we can rectify these conventions and domesticate them to our local laws. It will help us strengthen our journey towards improving mental health and well-being within workplaces. Once again, I thank you so much for inviting me, and I wish you a good weekend ahead. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Esther,
Yehi.
you back?
I'm back. Thank you so much, Mr. Yehi, for the presentation. As our presenter earlier said, there is no health without mental health. I urge us all to be vigilant and also to keep our mental health at our places, at our homes, and everywhere. Yeah, since it's a weekend, please get some time off the work and go get a smile on your face. Our recordings will be shared in group for people who have been having network issues or asking for their presentations. So watch out for them onto our different platforms and our WhatsApp group. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for your time. And don't forget to subscribe to the different show platforms. Please follow, like, share, so that we can grow show together. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening.